Jurors aren't just listening to your words. They're taking in the sound of your voice as data about whether to trust you or not. Welcome to the Foster Your Voice podcast with me, Christy Foster. After a 30-year career in music and theater, I never imagined I'd be coaching trial attorneys. But once I entered your world, I quickly realized how critical and underutilized voice is in the courtroom. The truth is, you don't win trials with brute strength. You win with your voice. I'll give you tools to unlock your voice so you can communicate not just with purpose, but on purpose. If you want quick action tips to help you stay calm and in control, keep jurors engaged, and inspire your listeners to action, all through the power of your voice, you're in the right place. I'm Christy Foster, and I'm here to help you foster your voice. Hello, Foster fam. Welcome back to another episode of the Foster Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Christy Foster, and I'm delighted that you're listening. If you're so inclined, please do leave a 5-star rating on your podcast app. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please consider leaving a quick written review as well. I really can't express enough what an encouragement it is to me to know that I'm not just speaking into a void and that something I'm sharing is landing and having a positive impact. So leave a review and leave a rating for me, please, please, please. Now, before we dig into today's topic, I want to remind you that I have a new $7 mini training all about how to speak so they get it. Speak so they get it. Walking you through a step-by-step 3-part framework to get your actual language to a place where jurors can understand you, follow along, stay engaged, and ultimately be able to advocate for your client when you're not in the room with them. I just know for me, I'm exceedingly rule-oriented. I actually find weird joy in knowing that I've followed the rules, okay? That's maybe a little strange insight into who I am as a person. But I think about when I'm learning to play a new game with friends. I'm the one reaching for the instruction booklet. I'm the one reading the rules. And even if someone else has played the game before, somehow I tend to become the leader. When there's a question of whether a rule is being followed, they look to me, and I rely on the instructions that I read. So I can't stress enough just how important it is that you give exceedingly clear information to the jury, both in your case presentation and also in your jury instructions. Someone in the jury room will be looked to for leadership, to answer the group questions and refer back to the instructions and the rules. So make sure that you are equipping them with the language you want so they are equipped, can feel thankful for all that you provided for them, and are able to follow the rules for the sake of your client. Don't frustrate your jury by expecting their success without equipping them for it. So go ahead and pick up my Speak So They Get It mini training. It's just $7. It comes with an instructional video, a 12-page workbook to help you put pen to paper and do all the practical work of translating from legalese to plain speak. Plus, there's 3 great bonuses included. So go to fostervoicestudio.com/speak, or just click the link in the show notes. So let's get your message clear so your jury can be successful. Hey, real quick, if your jurors look confused when you say liability, standard of care, or damages, they're not tuning out because they don't care. They're tuning out because they don't speak law. I've put together a free guide called Top 20 Legal Terms to Avoid and What to Say Instead. It'll help you simplify your language without losing credibility, so your message actually lands. Download it now at fostervoicestudio.com/top20 or click the link in the show notes. All right, back to the episode. Today, we're talking about a moment that I know you've experienced, whether it's in the courtroom with a jury or at home in maybe a heated conversation with your spouse. You're emotionally invested. You care about what you're saying. Maybe you're building to an important point and you want gravitas. You want presence. And then your voice betrays you. Instead of landing with depth and authority, suddenly your pitch climbs higher and higher until you sound less like a trusted guide and more like you're auditioning for Mickey or Minnie Mouse. Why does this happen? It's so frustrating. It's not that your voice doesn't care. It's that your nervous system is taking over. When you're stressed or emotionally charged, your body goes into a mild version of fight or flight. Muscles around the larynx tighten, breathing becomes shallow, and the pitch of your voice naturally rises. You don't even notice that it's happening until it's too late. But here's the good news. This is not permanent, and it's not inevitable. There's a fix to it. You can ground your voice. Now, when we talk about grounding, we're talking about anchoring your sound into something, creating stability in your body, your breath, and your imagination, so your voice doesn't spiral upward with your nerves. Think of grounding like roots. Start with your posture. Imagine your feet sinking into the ground, not heavy or collapsed, but tall and expansive, like you're being stretched both downward through your legs and upward through the crown of your head. Relax your shoulders, unlock your knees, and let your body feel steady, but not stiff. This tall, grounded position and posture communicates authority before you even open your mouth. And internally, it gives your nervous system the signal, hey, we're safe, we're steady, we're not about to run away. So, ground your body. Next, you need to ground your breath. Now, here's where science comes in. When you get nervous, you tend to breathe high up in your chest. That shallow breathing not only limits the air available for speaking, but it also activates the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. So be sure to listen to episode 36, where I talk more about this breath nervous system connection. Instead of that high breath, you want low breathing, initiating from your diaphragm and your abdominal muscles. Take a deep inhale, expanding your belly while keeping your chest relatively still. This deeper breath helps stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest. In other words, calm. Okay? Now, don't stop at taking the breath. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They take a good deep inhale and then they hold it. They grip it. And then they try to push sound out from the throat alone. You can hear that tension. This creates strain. You can hear it in my voice, right? I'm going to take a nice low, deep breath, but now I'm essentially holding my breath when I start speaking, and then I have to push and strain. This is how you lose your grounding. So instead, you've got to use the air. I know that sounds like duh, but you're not using your air. So try this. Hold the back of your hand in front of your mouth. Take a deep breath and then start speaking. Can you feel the air hitting your hand as you talk? That's breath in action. That's what supports your voice. Now, it might feel a little too breathy to begin with, but just make sure you feel that air coming out. Okay, so you've grounded your body and you've grounded your breath. Now, let's get that breath connected to the voice. And this is where grounding really comes alive. Let your voice ride on the breath, not fight against it. Again, practice being too breathy at first, just to exaggerate the sensation of airflow. That way, you train your body to connect sound and breath instead of letting tension cut it off. Once you've got that connection, you'll notice a huge shift. Your voice feels steadier, fuller, more controlled. And here's the real payoff. You can express passion, urgency, even indignation without sounding shrill or strained. You can get fired up without losing control. And it's just so important to remember. Jurors aren't just listening to your words. They're taking in the sound of your voice as data about whether to trust you or not. When your pitch keeps climbing and your voice sounds tight, jurors unconsciously register that as anxiety. If you're nervous, they feel nervous. If your voice sounds unstable, your credibility feels unstable. And when you ground your voice through posture, breath, and connection, you project calm authority. Even in the middle of heated emotions, your sound communicates steadiness, and jurors think, this attorney is confident. I can trust them to guide me. And there's neuroscience to back this up. You know, I love me some good brain science. When you breathe low and slow, you're not just calming yourself, you're signaling calm to others. Remember, humans mirror each other. If your breath is steady, your juror's nervous system begins to steady too. That's when they're in the best headspace for listening, learning, and making decisions. Now, like every skill, grounding doesn't happen automatically just because you know about it. I know it seems so unfair. You should just be able to know something and then immediately implement it. Well, that's just not how life works. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. You've got to practice in low stakes situations so it's available in the high stakes ones. So try this. Before a meeting or phone call, take 60 seconds to ground your posture, breathe low, and speak a few sentences while feeling that air on the back of your hand. In casual conversations, notice when your pitch starts to rise. Pause, breathe low, and let your voice reset. Now, the goal here isn't to avoid higher pitch. Hear me now. That's not the goal. Jurors love hearing middle voice and sometimes even head voice mixed into your presentation. They crave that. They need that. But you need to do it on purpose and not as part of a nervous system response. Practice connecting your breath and your voice with something as simple as reading aloud, keeping the sound riding on the airflow. You should be able to do this with your chest voice, your middle voice, and your head voice so that your entire range is grounded. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Of course, it will feel foreign to begin with. You have to practice it and get it more familiar in your body. And when the high stakes moment comes, Whether that's cross-examining a witness or having a hard conversation at home, you'll be ready. So the next time you feel your voice creeping upward, when the moment is serious, when the emotion is high, don't panic. Pause, ground your body, ground your breath, and let your voice hook into that foundation. Let it anchor. That's how you speak with gravitas. That's how you keep control of your sound. And that's how you make sure jurors or anyone else that's listening hear not just your words, but your steady, confident presence behind your words. Now, if today's episode gave you something practical to try, would you share it with a colleague? And don't forget to leave that quick review. It helps other trial attorneys find the show, and I just really get encouraged by it. So until next time, keep fostering your voice. Thanks for pulling up a seat with me today and for being part of the Foster fam. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave a review or a comment so I can give you a shout out on a future episode. During the week, you can find me on Instagram at Foster Voice Studio, where I'm dropping little nuggets of vocal technique and leadership wisdom. You can also join my mailing list by visiting fostervoicestudio.com or by clicking the link in the show notes. I'll send a weekly vocal tip every Tuesday directly to your inbox. Until then, keep fostering your voice.